to the latest data, Knoxville, Tennessee has been adding 14 people per day to its population. Realtor.com recently reported that Knoxville, Tennessee was in the top 10 most popular searches in their database. Now, this is pretty crazy when you consider the fact that Knoxville is actually such a small town. In fact, we barely have 250,000 people in our population, and if you count the metropolitan area, that includes all 17 suburbs as well as surrounding counties such as Blount County and Anderson County, you get to around 900,000 folks. However, that is still relatively small compared to a lot of metros around the US. So why is Knoxville so popular? Why are so many people seeking out this small town in East Tennessee? Well, today I'm going to get into the reasons why. So let's get started. Knoxville has also consistently been ranked by U-Haul as one of the top metros to watch out for. Citing their data on one-way trucks, Knoxville seems to be an area where folks are migrating to, yet not leaving. Number one would be career opportunities, be it young folks starting out, or folks looking for a second career, or folks looking to extend their career and to dig deeper with more opportunities. It's no secret that Knoxville has become a hotspot for career development and job opportunities. In fact, Knoxville is home to quite a few notable companies. These include Pilot Flying J, HGTV, Jewelry TV, Ruby Tuesdays, as well as several other companies. In fact, Smith & Wesson recently relocated their headquarters to here in beautiful East Tennessee. While they're in the Knox metro area, Smith & Wesson is actually in Blount County, which is right near the Knoxville airport. This was a pretty astonishing thing considering that they had been headquartered in their hometown for well over 100 years, and this was their first and only relocation. But don't mistake our blue-collar town for not having room for the white-collar folks as well. In fact, Knoxville has made notable strides in the area of science, technology, and all that good stuff. When you look at what Knoxville has done, let's take Oak Ridge, for example, which actually created the first 3D printed car. Over the past 10 years, they've been home to the world's fastest computer 2 separate times and still hold the number 2 spot. I'll be honest, if you can't get a job in Knoxville, you're probably not trying that hard. And that's not to be condescending towards anybody, but about every place you drive by could use some help. I take myself, for example. I am living proof that Knoxville has ample opportunity. In my 20s, I was a general manager at Arby's, and then I went on to go into the trucking industry where I would spend about a decade. From there, I've built a successful real estate career and get to do the work that I love every single day. To be honest, I was content driving a truck. I was happy doing that. So I wasn't like some depressed guy looking to just get into something else, but I just felt I had a calling on my life in the real estate business, and it's what God had for me to do. But to be real, I was very proud of being in the trucking industry. I made good money in the trucking industry, and I was able to take care of my family. All this happened because of the opportunities provided for me here in the Knoxville area. So I can't brag on this city enough when it comes to economic opportunity, because I've went from $30-some thousand a year to a pretty good life. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no high roller. I got a 97 Silverado in the driveway right now that I absolutely love to drive. However, I'm just saying that you can take nothing here in Knoxville and turn it into something if you choose to do so. Number two would be nature. Knoxville is a nature lover's paradise. This is an amazing place. I love living in Knoxville. I love all it has to offer. My wife, my son, and I all go hiking. We love going on the lake, getting on the jet ski. There is so much to do here in Knoxville when it comes to the outdoors. And while most days I kind of agree with Sheldon, to be honest, where it's like I spend all this money on the inside, so I don't want to go outside of my house, I can relate. However, once you get out in Knoxville, there's so much to do when it comes to nature that it can even turn a homebody like me into somebody who loves the outdoors. I've spent so many summers, be it kayaking or on the jet ski, on the 7 lakes that surround Knoxville. So one of Knoxville's many nicknames is the City of 7 Lakes. And while there's technically not 7 lakes in Knoxville, there are 7 lakes that surround the Knoxville area. These lakes include Douglas Lake, Cherokee Lake, Watts Bar, Melton Hill, Tellico, and Fort Loudon. All of these lakes are phenomenal in their own way. We have clean lakes in the state of Tennessee, and if you're looking for the cleanest, it's actually Norris. The TVA ranked Norris Lake to be over 96% purity. It is beautiful and has this emerald color as a result of that level of purity. So there are over 30 some odd lakes in the state of Tennessee, and it is by actual measurement the cleanest lake in the state. It's also the deepest lake in the state, and that can be good and bad. If you're looking to buy property on Norris or lake property in general, reach out to me, because there is some stuff that you need to know about the different lakes in Tennessee. Some are more mild than others, and some are more cool than others. Like take Norris, for example, as a quick example. It has over 20 marinas, so it's a very hopping place. There's a ton to do there. If you want to drink beer and eat barbecue, Norris Lake is where it's at, trust me. However, Tellico Lake, for example, which is more of a retirement community, it's much more calm, much more relaxed. If you're out there with a keg of PBR or something, I don't know if they even make those nowadays, but if you are, it's probably not going to be a good fit for you. You would stand out like a sore thumb. And there's a ton of stuff to do here. As we all know about the Smoky Mountains, which is only an hour away from Knoxville, it's actually the most visited tourist town in the United States. Insane the amount of people that come there. And while you're in that area, it's not just the t-shirts for $9.98 and the Ferris wheels and all that cool stuff and Dollywood and all that. All that is very fun. But once you get back in areas like Cades Cove and stuff, you see bears running across the road. It's just a really cool environment. It's very much not so commercialized once you get in the areas of like Wares Valley, Townsend, and all that stuff. So I recommend going there if you're looking to visit and kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of that being such a major tourist area. Obviously, Tennessee is very well known for our mountains. If you're into checking out caves and stuff like that, Tennessee actually has more caves than any other state in America. That's right. Out of all 50 states, Tennessee has the most caves. Some say we have just under 10,000, and some say we have just over 10,000 caves, but either way, we have a lot of caves for you to explore, although you can't get inside all 10,000. However, there are a lot of really cool ones. For example, if you go to the Lost Sea, which is just maybe, 45 minutes-ish from the Knoxville area, that's an actually underground cavern that's got an underground lake, and it is really, really cool. It stays like 50 some odd degrees all year round. It's about a 3/4 or so of a mile walk to tour that, and I highly recommend checking that out as well if you're in East Tennessee visiting. It's just a really cool place. I lived here for I don't know how many years. My family's from this area. My wife's family's from this area. We were both born just about an hour away. So I've been around this area most of my life, and I had never been to the Lost Sea until just probably under 2 years ago. And it was phenomenal. I'm going to go back, and I don't know why I waited so long. So super cool place. Really recommend checking that out. We also have other cool attractions, like take Mount Leconte, which is actually an active volcano. Most folks didn't know that we even have active volcanoes in Tennessee, but Mount Leconte is one. Now, with that being said, it's the type of volcano that's not going to look like something on a movie where the end of the world's happening and everything's exploding, right? It's much more where if it erupted, it would kind of be a nuisance and pollute the air more than it would do like what you see with everybody dying and stuff in the movies. Next up is going to be the cost of living. Now, it's certainly gotten more expensive to live in Knoxville than when I first moved here. I do have to admit that. So I'm not acting like this is the cheapest place. If you want cheaper, holler at me. I serve rural areas around here in East Tennessee, and those are probably a better suit for you if you're looking to get the most for your buck. However, you're going to lose proximity to stuff. You're also going to lose a lot of the amenities, of course. It's just a trade-off, and that's anywhere in all 50 states. You're going to have that same problem. So here in the Knoxville area, it is cheaper than most. The most recent data I can find shows that Knoxville is about 13% cheaper than the national average when it comes to the cost of living. So that's really good for folks starting out here. It's really good for folks even who are established, because you get to live more instead of have to give more away, be it to the government or just everyday cost of living type stuff. And then next up is going to be the proximity to other cities as well as beaches and stuff like that. So if you live in South Dakota and you want to go to the beach, it is over 1,000 miles in some parts of South Dakota to get to the beach. Did you know that? That means you better have a creek near your house, because that's going to be where you go swim at, okay? But hey, at least the creek doesn't have sharks, so there is that. However, one good thing about living in Knoxville, Tennessee is we're only about 6.5 hours away from the nearest beach, be it South Carolina, North Carolina, and even slightly further to Florida. Either of those places are going to be a fairly short drive for you, be it taking I-40 or I-75 out of Knoxville. You're typically going to be able to get to the beach the same day you leave. And then you look at our proximity to other major cities. For example, you can be to Atlanta in just over 3 hours. You can be to Nashville in under 3 hours. Chicago is a little over 8 hours, I believe. And then New York City would be about 11 hours, maybe a little bit under that. But the point is you can be to most major cities in about a one-day drive. And that same proximity brings me to my next point, which is our bulletproof economy. Okay, I don't even think bulletproof and economy go together in a sentence, but hey, I went to community college. So Knoxville does have somewhat of a recession-proof economy. Actually, livability.com ranked Knoxville in the top 7 most recession-proof cities in the United States. I believe we took number 6 on that list. When the Great Recession happened in 2008, we did not feel it nearly as much as the rest of the United States here in the Knoxville area. I remember working all throughout the recession. We never had job shortages that I'm aware of. There certainly was not the abundance that we have today. However, you could get a job in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010 here in the Knoxville area. In fact, when they did studies to find out which U.S. cities had recovered from the recession the fastest, it turns out that the top 3 cities to fully recover from the Great Recession, Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's pretty cool to be named among 2 other large cities, although we're much more of a small town, mid-sized city, that we were actually even considered among those 2 to be the first 2 to fully recover from a Great Recession. And if you're wondering or curious, well, how do they measure that? Well, a recession, if you don't know, is actually 2 consecutive quarters in the United States in which the economy shrinks and doesn't grow. Well, I cannot act like I'm an economist here, okay? I barely can spell economist. But one thing I do know from the trucking industry is when you look on a map, if you were to cut that map of the United States in half, where you got left, right, east, west, whatever you want to call it, okay? On the left side of the map, on the west, you would have about 20% of the population in the United States. On the right side of the map, you have 80% of the population of the United States. So 80% live over here, 20% live over here. That's very important. When you look on that same 80% part of the map, the right side, the east side, what you'll see is Knoxville is almost dead center, meaning all the commerce, everything comes through here to go to other areas. Now, this can certainly create some problems within our, area, such as some traffic on I-40 and I-75. Back up on occasion, although we do not have the big city traffic compared to your Nashville, Atlanta, and places like that. So all that commerce coming through our area to go to Florida, to go to the Northeast, to go to the Atlanta area, Nashville, to go out west, everything comes through here, which is one of the reasons that Pilot Flying J became so successful as a truck stop gas station chain, that supply chain logistics, as well as many other companies that rely on supply chain logistics. However, our economy is very diverse, which is one of the reasons that we're ranked so high in outlets such as livability.com and so forth. We have a pretty good infrastructure when it comes to technology. Now, a lot of this is due to what goes on in Oak Ridge, from the building of the atomic bomb onto the supercomputers that we see today, to the stuff they're doing with 3D printers and everything. Oak Ridge has been a hot spot, and that's always kept the technology somewhat up in Knoxville compared to some other areas within the South. And then for our last point is going to be taxation, or a lack thereof. One cool thing about Tennessee is we have no state income tax. This means you don't have to pay any money out of your check to our local state, just to the federal. Now, we're kind of blessed here in Tennessee because the ample amount of tourism, such as Nashville with the Grand Ole Opry and all that stuff, all the country music and the bar scene that goes on there, it's kind of the cool spot, And then you got Chattanooga, which has been booming in recent years as well, to the most visited tourist area in the country, the Great Smoky Mountains. We are very blessed here that we get a lot of tourism tax dollars coming in from our sales tax. So that is able to keep us from having to pay taxes. Now, you would think that without paying state tax, that Tennessee wouldn't have much to offer. However, you'd be wrong. For example, we have the Tennessee Promise. Be it you're 40 years old and you've been out of school over 20 years, or you're fresh out of high school and you want to go to college, Tennessee actually offers the ability for you to go to community college absolutely free. That's right, free college in a Republican state sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, here's how we do that. We actually use the proceeds from lottery to pay for this college education for folks. Now, it's community college the first 2 years, but however, you could go on to UT or wherever you want to go for the next 2 years and then get a 4-year degree at that school. It's going to say University of Tennessee on it. And you've got the 2 years for nothing outside of your books and stuff, really. So it's a really good opportunity for folks, but it doesn't forcibly take money from people through taxation. This low taxation mindset is one of the reasons that businesses are so attracted to Tennessee. It's the reason we've had such an influx of corporations, as well as great success with many startups. Tennessee has become a success story for so many, and that opportunity is through us being able to use the money that we earn to further prosper our families instead of giving it to the government to spend recklessly, which we see happening in so many other states. Tennessee typically runs our budget with a budget surplus. That's unheard of in many states, to actually spend less than you make. In fact, Tennessee has been ranked in the top 3 cheapest places to do business and is ranked in the top 5 or so least tax burden states. So that's it, y'all. That is 5 reasons why Knoxville, Tennessee has become such a hot spot. If you're looking to move to the East Tennessee area, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to chat, help out. If you're looking to move into Nashville or other areas in Tennessee, I know quality real estate agents throughout the entire state of Tennessee, be it West, Mid, or where I live here in East Tennessee, who can help serve your needs. I'd love to chat about your goals and see how I can best help. I hope and pray that you got something out of this video. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to drop me a comment. Let me know what you think on East Tennessee here and what you love about our state or what you hate about it. We're open to criticism. We got thick skin here in the volunteer state. I'd love to hear from you either way. I'm Chris Overbay with United Real Estate Solutions, the blue collar agent. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see you on the next one.